Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Supraphon's edition. It's not a lot, 6 CDs, which is very digestible. I actually think that's a good thing, of recordings featuring the Czech Philharmonic under Croatian conductor Lovro von Matačić. Now, Lovro von Matačić, I love this picture, by the way. Have a look at it. There he is after his really fresh from his alien abduction, after he was discovered in a field somewhere in Bohemia. Anyway, my God, he was a terrific conductor. He really was. He made, some of you may be familiar with his recordings for EMI. That's where most of his stuff wound up, but he wasn't hugely heavily recorded compared to some of the other stalwarts of the EMI catalog. And he only made 6 discs worth of stuff for Supraphon, but they're with the Czech Philharmonic, and they are some amazing recordings. There's a lot of stuff that he did in Japan, including a Beethoven cycle that I have, which is on Blu-ray or it's on some format that I can't play. So it's sitting there staring at me going, play me. But I'm not buying the equipment. So, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, this is a nice box. It really is. It's beautiful. These recordings were made, in the 60s, I think, for the most part, the mid 60s, when the Czech Philharmonic was at its very, very greatest anchural period. Let me see if I can get the dates. 67, 59. I'm just going through this. 61, 68. Yeah, that's the period. 72 is the latest. 67. And let's see, it was 63. Okay, yeah. Vintage Czech Philharmonic. Very good sonics for the most part, especially as they've been cleaned up and remastered. Some of them were previously cleaned up and remastered, which we can talk about in a second. I just can't get over the picture. Holy cow. Oh my, Dr. Evil. Anyway, whatever his name was. Let's just go through this, shall we? First, we have a legendary Beethoven Eroica, which some people just swear by. It never quite thrilled me, I have to say, because I had an old version of it on Urania. I believe that was the label. It was where they got the master from. I don't know, but it sounded so dull with, no highs and all that stuff. Well, that's been cleaned up, and it's amazing what a little art restoration can do. It's a wonderful performance of the Eroica. It's magisterial. The funeral march is just harrowing. The scherzo has such a wonderful rhythmic bounce to it. Even the coda to the finale, which usually is sort of silly, he doesn't do a Zell on it. He doesn't take it lickety split, but he shapes it. And it actually culminates in the final bars, which is really quite something for the Eroica. So, yeah, definitely worth hearing. And it's coupled to his own suite from Götterdämmerung, which consists principally of Dawn and Siegfried's Rhine journey and then the immolation scene, or at least the last 7 minutes of the immolation scene. And it's exciting. Oh, it's exciting. And hearing the Czech Philharmonic with their wonderful lean sonorities and tangy brass, and it's got such drama. It's just wonderful. Then we have 2 of the greatest Tchaikovsky performances ever in the history of the universe. I reviewed them for ClassicsToday.com, and I believe I spoke about these before in my Tchaikovsky symphony series, the 5th and 6th symphonies. They were previously released in the Supraphon archive series, and if you didn't get them then, get them now, because they are amazing. They're intense. They're lyrical. They have that amazing Tchaikovsky hysterical passion that's always there somehow. It's glorious. His finale of the 5th is one of the greatest performances of that thing you'll ever hear in your life, and it's a wonderful lesson. I mean, I talk about it in my Classics Today review of these things, but you know that middle section in the finale, the part that used to get cut. It's after the motto theme comes back with the scales, da 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 da, does that, and then you've got that middle section where it's going cha 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 da da cha, and there's this string ostinato going cha 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 cha. It goes on and on and on and on. Tovey cited that as his locus classicus for a moment where you're running faster and faster only to stay in the same place. That's why people cut it. Well, he does such a smart thing. The lesson is, when you're losing your audience, don't go faster, go slower. Get their attention. And that's what he does there. He actually slams on the brakes and makes you listen to what's happening. And it works so well. And then, of course, after that whole passage, when you return to tempo primo, it takes off like a shot. It's just, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the Matačić is intense and depressing and moving, and it's got everything going for it. The finale is devastating. It's just marvelous. For the Tchaikovsky alone, this set is worth the price. And you get a coupling to the Matačić. It's Ulrich Kort's The Story of the Flutes, which is a masterpiece. It's a tone poem. It's 18 minutes long. It's for orchestra with 2 solo flutes, 2 obbligato flutes. And I don't know what the story of the flutes is. I never bothered to look. The music is absolutely captivating. In the best tradition of, Czech orchestral tone poetry. It's beautiful, beautiful work, which you will never hear otherwise. So yes, that's worth having. Then you've got 3 Bruckner symphonies. And here things get a little weird. The latest recording here was from 1972, and it's Bruckner 5 in sort of kind of the Schock edition, but not always. He opens up some cuts. He reverts to the original sometimes, but in the finale, he's mostly Schock with the cymbals and the piccolo and the craziness at the end. It's just weird. And I certainly, it's 100% committed, and the playing's very good, but it's kind of foolish, frankly, especially by then when everybody was doing Bruckner's original and understood that that's the way it had to go. For people who want to have his version of the Bruckner 5, okay, what can I say? It's sui generis. But Bruckner 7 is marvelous. It's a gorgeous performance. The Czech Phil always did Bruckner 7 well. They made a recording with Libor Pešek as well that was just terrific. And the 9th is pretty extraordinary because it's a very lean performance because of the orchestra, partly, with a quickish first movement for Bruckner and a really intense performance of the Adagio. The Adagio, the climax of the Adagio has some grindy dissonance that you didn't know were in there deep down in the harmony. And it's really, really powerful and moving. The Scherzo, too, has lots of leonine pounding power. And it's just great. So this is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. I just can't get over the cover picture. Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. Yes, you really need to get this. When it's coming out in the U.S. as of this date, which is March 19th, 2025, I'm not exactly sure, but come it will. I got this from the UK, so it's out there, and you owe it to yourself, if you're a serious collector, to hear this guy and this orchestra in this repertoire. Even with the bizarre Bruckner Fifth. I guess that only adds character to the whole production. The rest of it is to die for. Just phenomenal. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.